Hi, I'm really glad you're here because I get to tell you all about the Dare to Be Aware Fair and introduce you to Jill Borsos and Eric Swenson, who have been with the fair for many, many years. This year is the 15th annual Dare to Be Aware Fair, and it just amazes me that we've made it this far and we just have kept on growing, and we're now at the Brookfield Conference Center and 120 exhibitors and 15 presentations, and oh my goodness. So I'm going to introduce you first of all to Jill Borsos. Jill, hi and welcome.
Thank you.
It was Jill who created the idea of the fair, held the very first fair, and in the next couple of years we got to know each other. And well, Jill, you want to say just a little bit about that history?
Yeah, so I ran the fair the first 5 years, and Patricia and her team helped me bring it online so we could have online registration and a website and all that good stuff. And eventually she took it over, but we started out in the domes, and then with Patricia's help, we now moved to the Alverno College, and now we're at the Brookfield Conference Center, so getting bigger and better. That's always been my motto, so yeah, excited.
What's one thing you're particularly looking forward to with the fair this year?
I am just so excited to see everyone. It's a family reunion at the fair. Yeah, I'm a big hugger, and Eric is too. We spend a lot of time hugging.
We do.
But yeah, just seeing everyone. I mean, some people I've seen be part of the fair as a vendor from day one, like Diane Bloom we were talking about the other day. Some early on, like Eric that I brought in, and he's been there ever since. So it's so great to see these vendors come back year after year, and my friends, and everybody's become my friends, vendors, participants, volunteers. It's a family reunion. It's so fun.
So that's part of what you get to look forward to.
Yes.
I'm especially happy to say that Jill's going to be our keynote presenter for this year's Dare to Be Aware Fair, May 11th, 2024, just in case you didn't notice the date on the website. So, Jill, what are you going to talk about? Do you know yet?
Yeah, so Patricia and I were talking about wellness, binging on wellness as the theme for this year. And you can't have wellness without money. It's really difficult. You need money to take care of yourself. You need money to take care of your obligations. And if you're stressed about money, you really don't have any wellness. Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about money wellness, discover 5 keys to prosperity. So 5 keys to power your prosperity path.
Oh, I like that. Power your
Power
prosperity
your
path.
prosperity path. Yes. So we've all been through some twists and turns with money through the years, and that leads to some ways that we show up with money that hinders our capacity to receive. But not just receive money, receive joy, more love, more fulfillment. So let's power up.
All right. So you, as the keynote, there will be no other presentations during your time. The vendors get to take a little bit of a lunch break because the keynote's at about, I think it's about 12:30. So it'll be really nice to, everybody can just come pack the room and spend some time with you.
That's going to be wonderful.
It will be. And Eric.
Patricia.
So you're going to open the fair again this year, as you have done for, I'm not even sure how many years now. You've been with the Dare to Be Aware Fair. I went back in my records, and it's since 2010.
Wow.
So this is
It's been a lot of fun over the
third
years.
year at the fair. So tell people a little bit about the Global Healing Circle that you do to open the fair.
It's really, well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for creating it, and thank you for continuing and helping to grow it and so on. The Global Healing Circle experiences to me are really priceless in many ways. Most of us have become aware of self-care based upon maybe a more Western tradition and processes and procedures. And certainly that can be a choice that's available. There are times where we aren't able to achieve the net results we'd like to be able to. And there are practices that have been in place, in some cases for hundreds or thousands of years, that are different. And I welcome the chance to share the Global Healing Circles. I began sharing them probably about a dozen years ago. Have actually shared them in different countries, in many different places, well over 100 of them at this point. And the primary focus of them is really to help people begin to experience what could be part of a process of helping them achieve their desired outcome in a different way. It can certainly supplement whatever they're doing if they have a commitment to some Western practice that they've been advised to undertake and they're in the midst of. No problems at all. But it's really a way of engaging, I would say, our hearts, our souls, our eternal selves in the process. And when we do so, we're really engaging the power that creates worlds that exists within all of us. So it's a wonderful way to share experiences with people. The Global Healing Circles is kind of a nice little slice of an opportunity to help open people to a new way of pondering their health or recovering from whatever illnesses or imbalances have come to exist within them.
You know, I feel peaceful inside just listening to you talk about the Global Healing Circles. So the Global Healing Circles are held just before the fair opens at 9 o'clock. The fair opens at 10. So as many people as want to can come and participate. You actually don't even have to pay registration for the fair or admission. You can do just the Global Healing Circle. It's our gift to the community. So I'm hoping that you will join us for the fair. Again, it's May 11th, 2024 at the Brookfield Conference Center. All the details are here on the website. Registration will be open. You can purchase tickets in advance or you can purchase tickets at the door. And in honor of our 15th anniversary, admission is going to be $15. So come join us at the fair and have an absolutely wonderful day. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Patricia Clason, and I'm here interviewing Jill Borsos. And Jill is the founder of the Dare to Be Aware Fair, and she also has her own organization. You do coaching, you do workshops, you do professional speaking, some consulting work, all kinds of things. You're going to tell us more about that. So, Jill, let's just start out with what's possible. What is it that you vision that is possible for us that causes you to do what you do?
Yeah, so I like to have people tap into that. So I'm just going to invite everyone to just close their eyes for a moment.
Okay, me too?
You too.
Okay.
Yeah, so to close your eyes and take a breath. And to receive. All of us are innately wired to know and want more, to know that we have potential, greater potential, and that we are worthy of more. And so what is possible for you? If you allow yourself to feel that possibility, to sense it, feel it, maybe hear it, know it. What is that possibility for you? Maybe it's something new, maybe it's something exciting, maybe it's a way of being, maybe it's something you've desired for a long time. Maybe it's joy, peace. To know it now. And then open your eyes. And just notice what you notice. Did you notice something new pop up? Did you notice that maybe you knew what it was? You have an inkling of what it was, but it wasn't clear? There's always, what was that?
Well, for me, what it was is I noticed a really big smile when you said joy. That the rest of the time I had this like peaceful face. Of course, they could all see it. I can't see my own face, but it felt like a peaceful face. And you said joy, and I felt this big grin. So I don't have a picture to go with it, though. Just a really nice feeling when you said joy.
Yeah, so it's just knowing what's possible for us is so important. Yeah.
So we have to vision something. That's an important first step.
It is an important step to know that there is something there for you. So for you, it may be joy. What's going to bring you more joy? Depending on what you saw.
I'm just checking my cards here because I got some good questions for you, and I want to make sure I ask them. So I didn't see anything in particular when you said joy. I know I really felt something, though, so I'm going to be curious to see how that sort of bubbles up. So you're saying that knowing what's possible is crucial.
It is.
Say a little bit more about why that's true.
Okay, so if you saw, when you did that little exercise, if you saw something great, if you didn't, that can be really disappointing. It can be frustrating. It can be tough. Yeah, and it's really tough if you don't know what's possible for you to chart a path, to chart any kind of, to what path, how am I going to chart that path? But it's even tougher if you don't know what's possible for you. So knowing what's possible is everything. It's a catalyst to creating what you truly desire.
So I'm hearing something a little bit different than having a goal. I mean, when I think mapping or creating a path, you use the word path, I think goal. I have to know where I want to end up. When I hear you say possible, I think bigger than a goal. I see something much larger.
Yes, and sometimes we don't know what it is. And so for me, the reason why I do this work is because of one of the biggest reasons I do this work is because of the transformations I've lived myself. I've experienced them, and I've been a witness to my clients nearly daily, having these breakthroughs, having transformation, and living what is possible for them. And so through seeing that, I know that you can do it too. Right?
Sure.
So that's the drive.
So give us an example of something that your clients have achieved that really helped you to really know with such certainty, because clearly you have certainty that you can assist people to find that path. So what have you watched people achieve?
Yeah, well, it's been fun seeing people live something they've only dreamed about. So maybe they've had a dream for years to live in some affluent neighborhood, and someday I'm going to live in that neighborhood. Or someday I'm going to move down to some state down south. Someday I might move to Europe. And then see them do that as I'm working with them. And what's interesting is in record time, they sell their house. In record time, they find a house. There's synchronicities that allow them to buy the house that they didn't think they could get. It's so fun. And then I've seen people that weren't interested in dating whatsoever because of experiences they've had.
Yeah.
And now they're dating, and I just love this guy, so I get to see that. I've had people really break through their relationships, whether it's with a partner, whether it's helping a child through some mental illness, helping them navigate that, helping them show up at work in a whole new way, just helping them live that potential, live that possibility, and see it in themselves, and then do it.
I'm watching you as you share all of this, and I see your eyes just light up, and you just get so excited about other people's success.
Yes.
And watching them prosper in every area of life. It's not just money, although it sometimes is. I hear you talking about relationships and about where we live, and I imagine careers are in there too.
Yes, thank you. Business, seeing people close a business and start working in a global job, maybe double their business. I've seen that happen. I've seen them change their clientele. I had one that changed their clientele. They changed the way they dress. They became much more flamboyant, and it's who they are.
Sure.
And he's wearing different shoes, just stylish shoes, and really working with these luxury clients, and just really being themselves.
A lot of the things you've said are about like big accomplishments, luxury, prosperity. Have you ever seen anybody, as a result of your work, scale back a little bit to a different lifestyle, maybe a more relaxed lifestyle, maybe a less physical thing-oriented lifestyle? Does it go that direction too?
It absolutely does.
Yeah?
Yeah. Somebody that I know, Maggie Mongan, maybe you know her, but she always used to say, slow down to speed up. And just yesterday, I was talking with a client about that sometimes the way that we used to do things doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Working really hard, pushing, doing everything possible for that client. It may be time to wean off some clients and that you've been working too hard. It's just not a fit anymore. And their life changes, and there's a paradigm shift for them, that they're in a place where they don't want to beat their head up against a wall anymore, and they want to go travel
Sure.
Yeah, so they want to slow down. They want to find out what really matters to them.
I like that part.
Yeah.
What really matters to them.
Truly.
Not
Yes.
what somebody else said should matter, but what
Yes.
really matters to them.
Absolutely.
Is there something special that you do with your clients or that your clients do that help them get such great results?
A big part of it is my helping them get clear about what's possible for them, but also what's working for them and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we don't realize we're so busy making things happen that we don't realize, yeah, it's working for them, but it's not working for us. So I'm intuitive, so I can see through their current reality and see what's possible for them. And so they might share something with me. One of my clients just shared this in a testimonial yesterday, so it's fresh in my mind. She said what she likes most is she'll share something and I'll turn it around to something completely impactful for her life. So every session is life-changing for her because she's changing her perspective, and your perspective is reality. And once they see it for themselves, once they know it for themselves, there's no stopping them. They've broken through that atmosphere. They're like a rocket. They're powered up. They're powered through, and there's just no stopping them.
I'm getting excited. Should we go do a session now and have a conversation? No, I have to finish the interview. So, what is something that our listeners could do now, our viewers could do right now to move in this direction? Do you have an idea for them?
Yeah, so, I was talking about the current reality. So most of us spend ourselves, our money, our resources, our time on our current reality. So it's opening up that reality to what is possible so that you can take inventory about, what is working for you, but also what do you need? Because once you know what's possible, you can see what you need. So some of the things that I like to see people look at is what are their strengths and gifts that are going to help them achieve whatever this is. And sometimes they don't know, or they don't know how to leverage them. So taking inventory, is it that? Is it maybe your vision just isn't open because you're really feeling pain or frustration or disappointment or grief? So you can't focus. You can't focus. You can't really see what's possible out there, and you're not inspired. So maybe you know what to do, but you're just not doing it.
Sure.
So is it that? Is it maybe you don't believe in yourself? That's a big one. If you don't believe in yourself or believe in the dream, then it is always a someday. And therefore we're not inspired to take inspired action. It doesn't really happen. It really slows us down. So is it that? Is it that we don't know our value? Some of my clients don't know what they do. What is that worth? Value-wise, monetarily, also impact in the world. Sometimes what they do is so amazing in the world, and they receive so much from it in connections and resources and all these other things that add up. We did an exercise once with somebody where it was hundreds of thousands of dollars, but the money didn't show up in hundreds of thousands of dollars, but to see the value and the impact that they're having. So what is that impact? And seeing their own greatness. Yeah.
One of my mentors once said to me, "Why are you pretending you're not great?" That stuck with me for a long time.
Yeah.
So you've given us
Feel that.
yeah, you've given us 5 really good questions. So for those of you viewing, you might have to rewind or go backward. We don't really rewind things anymore, do we? We just play back. Go backward and listen to the 5 questions and write them down and do some time journaling. And then plan to join us at the Dare to Be Aware Fair in 2024 and do Jill's workshop and take it all to the next level. Or you can contact Jill on her website.
Yeah, so if those questions that if you looked at were I don't know. I don't know if how to do those things. Then yeah, reach out to me because that's exactly what I can help you with. Like those are tough questions to do by yourself, first of all. But you may have a resource, great. But if you don't, always like Joe Vitale's phrase about if you feel the impulse or you get the nudge, the intuitive nudge, don't doubt, don't delay, just act, right? That's all you need to do. So just give me a call or you can reach me at transform@jillborsos.com.
Borsos.
Correct.
Transform.
At Jill Borsos, BORSOS.com.
Well, that's kind of convenient. That SOS thing is really great.
Yeah, we'll chat. We'll find out what's possible for you. Yeah.
Jill, thank you so much. You've got me all inspired and excited now. So I look forward to spending more time with you as these days go on and building the fair for this year. And just, you mentioned at the beginning about how you have made so many friends at the fair. And one of the things I am most grateful for is the friendship we've been blessed with as a result of working together at the fair. So thank you very much for being the guest today.
It's an honor. Yes.
Thank you. Well, welcome back. I'm glad you're still here because I have the opportunity now to talk with Eric Swenson. Eric has been with the Dare to Be Aware Fair for, I think we figured out, 13 years,
I believe
right?
so, correct.
And every year you have packed the Global
Healing Circle.
Thank you. You've packed the Global Healing Circle. The room has always been full. And then those people have come to the fair and spent the day finding out how they can support their wellness. And you have some kind of secret sauce, I think, Eric, because people keep coming back. They tell me, I came back for Eric. And I'm like, wow. So what is that?
So first of all, thank you, Patricia. It's nice to have this opportunity to chat for a bit. I think there's a couple things. The Global Healing Circles have been a delight and a pleasure to open the fair with. The presentations have also been pretty much equally packed from the beginning. And that really all ties into the spirit in this I feel inside of me. I feel so blessed to be able to share life with people. I love the way people live their life, whether it's everything like mine or nothing like mine. I appreciate people living on their own and finding the joys and happinesses that they would like to have in life. And on the other hand, oftentimes they don't find the outcomes that they'd like. In the healing situations, for example, a lot of people have some health issues that they may or may not be making the progress on. My experience is that people can heal from any health imbalance. There are different ways of doing that. And so the Global Healing Circle is a wonderful way for people to kind of come, unplug, and begin to experience an experience that's probably a little different from things like Western medicine and so on, but potentially equally, if not far more impactful relative to their healing journey. So I love that.
Do I remember correctly, Eric, that you sometimes offer those Global Healing Circles virtually?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I began doing them probably a dozen years ago, everything I knew was in person, and I had learned Reiki healing and another form of healing many years earlier, but everything was being with someone. And I actually volunteered for an event one time to help out, and when I got close to the event, I saw that people that were being put into my group one was from Australia, one was and I'm thinking, are these people coming this far? And it turned out to be virtual. So I ended up beginning to share those events virtually for a number of years, and they were incredibly impactful to people all over the world. We had quite a following on a Facebook clump, so to speak. I don't know what kind of group or whatever, where the feedback each week and the changes in people's lives and in their healths were just phenomenal. So they come in lots of different shapes, sizes, and forms, and so on. And
so people keep coming back to a Global Healing Circle. It's not something that they do just once.
It's really, each person's always welcome to their own journey. I think that, we're all busy and we typically get into patterns. And if our pattern is, hey, go to the doctor and do this, and the doctor says do this and do that and do this and do that, we do it because we kind of have to. And sometimes we're experiencing the results we'd like, and oftentimes we're not. So one of the opportunities that people seem to appreciate is to be able to come back each year and remember, oh, that's right, there's a different way of doing this. And actually, having come for a couple of years now, I've started doing some of those little things you mentioned. I started taking those deep breaths occasionally, and I started maybe hearing a softer message when maybe a difficult medical message is being shared with me, and I'm realizing that that's really a choice for me to consider, but it may not be my choice. So it's a blessing to have people come back year after year and new people each year. But it seems to be a place where they know they can come back to and kind of be reminded that they have the ability within them to create whatever healing they'd like if they choose in possibly a complementary or different way from what they're considering.
Now, you've done training and certification in a lot of different modalities. So I know that some people will say, well, I do Reiki, and other people will say I do guided meditation, and people just have specialties.
Absolutely.
Are any of those modalities that you have, multiple modalities, is there one that you consider a specialty?
Well, I did the Reiki healing in 1990, which was a long time ago, and have had some amazing experiences early on, and then had a big gap for a long time where I wasn't sharing it, and now a decade and a half of amazing experiences. There's another healing modality that I learned about probably 10 or 12 years ago that I felt was complementary, but what I realized is, Jill chatted for a little bit in her talk earlier about having people perceive possibilities. And my experience with probably easily hundreds of people at this point is when they've had a health issue, they've followed the guidance of whoever the professionals were, and the outcome was either not quite what they wanted or the exact opposite, like, you're going to be gone soon. One of the blessings I found, I don't think it matters what the modality is. I feel it's part of the connection, or maybe a message that you can somehow help weave into the awareness of the person that anything is possible, regardless of what anybody else tells us, if we can begin to perceive alternatives and are willing to go down that pathway. So I believe people with no skill sets. My sons, my little 4-year-old grandson is learning to put his hands on people's heads if they're not feeling well and stuff like that. It'll be a decade or two before he has any training whatsoever. But in my opinion, that's every bit as impactful. The essence of the energy we're all sharing is love. And it's not like, oh, love. It's the real love. It's unconditional love that knows no boundaries. And I would add that when we begin to realize how energetic/spiritual we are, that's really what we are, far more than physical. We're just tapping into our ability to connect to our higher selves, our common higher selves, and experience really anything we choose to in our life, including healing.
Wow. Well, that's an appreciative wow, because you said so much in the last 2 minutes here about looking at ourselves in a different way and being open to possibility. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the reasons people keep coming back to the Dare to Be Aware Fair, besides the friendship and the camaraderie and all those good things, is because there's always evolution.
Absolutely.
Each of us as presenters, leaders, healers are evolving in ourselves. And so we get to offer another level to people, and there's so many different levels to explore.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And so I love coming back to the Dare Fair. I love seeing people like you and Jill and many others I've known for years as practitioners. I love seeing new practitioners. I love seeing some of the people that I met 10, 12 years ago that still come back as participants. And I love the new people. They all, it's all perfect. Everybody's on their own respective path. But when we have opportunities, so the global healing circles are really far more focused on the healing aspect. The presentation I'll be sharing this year has a key component interwoven into it that's been a part of every presentation that I've ever done. It's my belief and my understanding and my witnessing in others and my living in my life that you really can accomplish anything you desire in your life, and to share perspectives that help people achieve a wider awareness of that. First of all, we are all infinitely worthy exactly as we are. We don't have to be better to be worthy. We were born worthy, and that can never be taken away. we all have the innate ability to create whatever we want in our life, but no one told us that. We weren't told that when we were little kids. So we need to peel a couple layers off the onion and realize, hey, wait a minute, in the middle is this beautiful person of me, and I really can create anything I'd like. So my point is I always like to help people understand how we do that. And now going back to the attendees, you see people that have been there for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years, and their lives are so dramatically different. And I don't even know half of what they've done, but the second you see them, you just feel them in this amazing place. And as you and Jill mentioned, you like to occasionally hug, and I like to hug pretty much everybody. So boy, those hugs are just priceless. No one needs to say a word, but the life experiences we share together are precious.
And they're wonderfully safe hugs as well.
Absolutely.
So, Eric, tell folks a little bit more about who you are, a little bit about your history.
Oh my gosh, I could go in a lot of different directions. Some of the more simple labels, so to speak, are husband and father and grandfather and business owner and public speaker and author. I think more of who I am is, even from being a little child, I've always had almost an infectious enthusiasm. And interesting, as I look back over my life and integrate it with what I know today, my journey in life has probably had as many peaks and valleys as anybody else's. But even from little on, I tended to spend almost no time on the valleys. Something would happen that didn't feel good or wasn't fun or hurt. Okay, it did, but I didn't spend weeks or months or years thinking about it or telling the story. I oftentimes pretty quickly got to the point of, okay, now that someone's knocked the water on the floor, okay, cool, what can I do about it in this moment, and how can I move on to make sure it doesn't happen again? And of course, I'm picking a benign topic, but my point is that we have the ability to create based upon what we focus on. And I have a passion for sharing perspectives with people, not that I'm right and they're wrong, but as Jill had mentioned earlier, sometimes you can share a thought that helps people see something differently, and it opens up a brand new way of them living in maybe that slice of their life or in several or all the slices of their life.
The idea that just came to mind for me was mirror, that you and Jill and other folks who work in coaching and healing and all of those kinds of things are really being a mirror saying, look here, this is the potential you, this is the possible you. So the mirror is not as much the present moment as it is reflecting to them who they could be.
It's also the magnificence of everybody. I feel like most of us over time begin saying, well, I'm this and I'm that, and I did this wrong and I did that wrong, and this hasn't worked for me. We are all amazing beings, and when we live our life, the whole intent of living life, my understanding, is to come forth and experience ever more greater joy and love and light in our life. So when we have, the water gets knocked over, or we stub our toes in some regard, if we make that the story of our life, the way the universe works, the universe is going to keep bringing us more experiences just like that for the rest of our life. But if we say, oh, that hurt a little bit, but because of that, I happen to look up and oh my gosh, there's a person, whether it's the wife that I met in Nicaragua in a far better than any Disney movie you've ever seen, and have now shared life with her ever since. The pathway to all we desire is available to us, and we're so worthy of it. So that's, I think, part of what we share is the worthiness and the acceptance. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're at. You're loved unconditionally. We're here to help if we can, and nothing's broken here. We just have new opportunities to live our life in different ways if we choose.
If we had a whole lot more time, I'd have you tell the Nicaragua story, but we don't. We're limited in time, of course. However, is there a success story of your own or of one of your clients that you could inspire us with?
I'll share a couple brief ones. Probably 8 or 10 years ago, I had accumulated so many awarenesses that I put together. I had felt this feeling to offer basically a life mastery program. So I did 2 sessions, one for a group of people in spring for 5 months and one in fall. We had about 20 or 22 people between the two. We met once a month for, I think it was 5 hours on a Sunday, including lunch. It was a pretty long period of time. And I will tell you that when everybody that came had at least 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 pieces of the pie of their life that just were not in a place that were good for them. And even as the months progressed, that you could just see them being one by one, the issues were being resolved. And now you see them even months later or years later, and they're just in such a different place. an absolutely different place. And what a huge blessing to be able to be a part of that. From a healing standpoint, when I did offer to participate in that healing event and found out I had people from all over the world, which I wasn't aware of. These weren't ones that I invited. These were ones that someone else orchestrated. It was very interesting because the person that hosted the event, who's a wonderful participant in the Dare Fair, a beautiful person, she got an email the next day from this woman in Australia, and she basically said, ever since I was a child, I've had this issue, this issue, this issue, this issue, and this issue. And she said, I finished with that healing circle yesterday, and they were all gone. And I've heard that's one example, but that wasn't even in person. That wasn't me hands-on or hands near, and have really been blessed to have a lot of experiences like that.
Yeah, you're saying that it wasn't you hands-on. I think that the work that we all do has this larger impact on the consciousness of the planet, if you would.
Absolutely.
That even if it's just two people working one-on-one, if we're working toward healing, it's helping.
Yep, or even helping a person find one greater way to enjoy their lives or find happiness in their lives, or maybe resolve an issue or let go of something they've not been able to let go of, because we really are all one. The source of energy that empowers all of our lives is the same source. Doesn't matter what color of our skin or religion or political favors we have or practices we favor. We're all one, and so we're all united in our continued progression over time. Ascension might be another word.
So I'm reaching over because on account I have Eric's book, and I had the pleasure of reading it. I have a couple bookmarks in here. So Eric, you want to tell everybody about the 10 Eternal Truths?
So the rest of the title, Of Life, Healing, Death, Purpose, and Creating All We Desire in Our Lives. So really, in essence and simplicity, really most of the comments I've shared today really support that. I've defined 10 eternal truths that I believe apply universally to all. And as you become not just familiar with them, but maybe ponder ways to begin integrating them into your life, the things that were so problematic either disappear or get resolved. The things you never even thought of come to mind. Oh, I never thought about doing that, but I'd love to do it. And then that opens the door to them doing it. So it's definitely not written. A beloved friend of mine who's sitting next to me here had mentioned that it's definitely probably not for the I don't know how to say it. The language is very deep.
It is.
And I would invite people, I've had some wonderful feedback, I would invite people to maybe read a chapter at a time and give it a couple days, because as you start moving through the day, oh my gosh, I get it now. It starts to make sense, and they build upon each other.
Yeah, I think I told you that you sounded a lot like Buckminster Fuller.
I believe that. I recall that well.
And I loved reading the book, Eric, and I do agree with you, the idea. I mean, there were days where I would read like 2 pages and stop and just let those 2 pages just settle. So you'll have these at the fair.
Absolutely.
And they're also available online.
Yep.
If people wanted to reach out to you and connect with you, talk to you prior to next May, because that's a long ways away right now.
It's a ways away.
How can they reach you?
Probably the easiest way to do so is to do it through a website that I set up years ago, and it needs to be redone. But the website has a Contact Eric page. And the website is ericswenson.com, and I'll spell that. Eric is E-R-I-K,
Yes.
and Swenson is S-W-E-N-S-O-N. So ericswenson.com. You'll see some stuff that's just fine on there. It's definitely going to be redone. By the time you get to the Dare Fair, it'll be all redone. But there is a Contact Eric page, and if you send a note, I'm happy to get back to you. It'd be my pleasure.
And that's about you integrating a lot of the different things that you've been doing so that they have one focal point.
Correct. Exactly so.
So I'll look forward to watching that website evolve.
I'm looking forward to helping it evolve.
So I kind of took you off script, so to speak. I asked you a few questions that you didn't ask me to ask you. Is there anything I forgot to ask or didn't bring up that you still want to share with everybody before we go?
I think fundamentally, most of us are so much more than we have awareness of. Our abilities truly are limitless. And as we come to the Dare Fair or go to Jill's presentation or read the book or do any of the things that you help sponsor and so on beyond the Dare Fair, there's really so much more. And if anybody feels any limitations in their life whatsoever, super cool, because limitations help us determine, okay, I feel limited here. we're going to help you focus on what would you really like to experience and find a pathway to that. So please know that whether it's your health, no matter what the issue is in life, Jill was talking even about finances earlier, which is such a challenge for so many people, you can always get to where you want to go. Maybe an additional perspective or two is necessary, but find some help somewhere, come to the Dare Fair, meet some of the practitioners, hop on Amazon to buy the book or whatever you can do. Our ability to live our life with as much joy and happiness and love is as unlimited as our awareness is. So it's time to expand our awareness, which is really what the Dare Fair does year after year after year.
Well, thank you. We could keep talking. I know we could.
Until the Dare Fair and then some.
And then some. You used a phrase in the material that you wrote in helping me to figure out how to do this interview. You said, blessed to be a blessing is a phrase that your dad taught you. Would you say just a little bit more about that before we go?
My dad, who passed away just under 2 years ago, was a Lutheran pastor for years, and I grew up in that world, and I love that world. But from very little on, one of the phrases he would use from time to time is blessed to be a blessing. And my personal opinion is every single person that exists is blessed, and they're already being a blessing to others. So I love opportunities that allow any of us to be blessings to others. And again, it might be as simple as saying to a clerk at a grocery store, wow, your hair looks beautiful today, when you know they're having a tough day. Or it might be someone like Jill spending days or weeks or months helping them realize all the potential in their life. I believe we are all that, and I love being so in whatever ways I can each and every day.
So on that note, I invite everybody to go forward from listening and watching this interview and this show to be a blessing. Blessed to be a blessing. I'm being grateful for the fact that I have something I can share with the world. You have something to share with the world. Go out and share it. And then come and tell us your story. Come to the fair and tell us all about what you've been able to accomplish. Thank you so much for spending time with us, listening to these great interviews. I look forward to seeing you all again at future shows and at the Dare to Be Aware Fair in 2024. Thank you so much.
Thank
Be
you.
a blessing.